point average and at least 13 core courses in high school. And running minimum score, CT or S. Ask your guidance counselor the requirements. Yourself now. It's never too early to hit the books.
This message provided by the NCAA.
Welcome back to Amherst, Massachusetts, the Women's National Championship between Nebraska and Texas. The Nike first for the Longhorns meets Spain field. Susan and the Billy Winsett, Kate Cernich, Allison Weston, Stacy Macer, Lisa Reitzma, and Christy Johnson. And they are trying to get Coach Terry Pettit his first national championship. This is their third in the finals. Checking off for NCAA women's volleyball game to the 15, must win by 2. It's 5. You can only score when serving, and if we do reach a it will be the rally scoring.
I've seen a lot of that rally scoring system in this championship so far.
Yep, for the first time ever, both semifinals went to 5 games. In white, Nebraska in red, the Huskers to serve. Christy Johnson starts it out, and a quick kill for Demetria Sant. Sonia Barnes.
She really came on strong.
With till she hit 100. Austin serving for Texas. Good dig by Chrisman. And a whistle, Nebraska into the net, so a point for Texas.
The matchup we have in these two teams is defense versus offense. Texas, the best blocking team in the country. Nebraska leads in hitting efficiency in the country.
There's a side out for Nebraska.
So what we want to look for right off the top is if Nebraska starts dominating, blocking at the net, you know that they are playing well and things are really grooving for them. And obviously, if Texas starts hitting well and putting up big numbers, then the match will be theirs.
There is another kill for Barnes, side out to Texas.
Right off the bat, 2 kills for Sonia Barnes. Look at her elevate. This is a gorgeous slide here. She bangs that ball, and she's a good 4 feet off the net. There she goes again.
That one will pick up a point for the Longhorns, 2-0 Texas.
Sonia Barnes, a junior out of Longview, Texas. This is a big thing for her. She's had very little exposure as a player. Limited club ball.
There's a side out for Nebraska. In the semifinals, the Huskers lost game 1 yesterday, and Texas beat Stanford in their game 1. Of course, that propelled the Horns into the final, while Nebraska was able to recover from that opening game loss. Not many teams have been able to do that in the tournament so far this year. The team that wins game 1 has won 80% of the matches. Reitzma.
I'll tell you, the thing about Lisa Reitzma, she is 6'4", but she uses a block as if she's 5'9". Most tall players are not this aware of a block, but look at her here, just go high off the hands of Brightonfield.
Maria Hedbeck has come on for Nebraska to serve, and there is a side out for the Horns.
Boy, that was a heads-up play by Sam. She saw the hole there and went up with an off-speed shot.
And in the semis, Maria, we knew she could hit the ball well, but we were both pretty impressed with the intelligence that she displayed on the floor.
She can mix it up with the best of them.
That's a dig. Brightonfield keeps it alive.
That ball's outside the antenna. Great effort, though, by Texas.
Good hustle by Brightonfield and also by Bledsoe. Side out to Nebraska. Lisa Reitzma to serve. Saints from the back row gets the side out with a kill.
Beth, right away you'll notice how much they're using Sants. She doesn't have to be in the front row to be an offensive weapon for them.
How about the freshman carrying the load in game 5 yesterday against the defending champs?
I'd say she's pretty much the #1 candidate for freshman of the year. Katie
Austin off the block. 3-1 Texas in game one.
Katie Austin also is only a freshman. Texas starts 3 freshmen. She is a player that came alive for Texas in the semis also.
She almost had a triple-double. That blocked out of bounds. Side out Huskers.
The nice use of the block there by Cernich. She saw that big block outside and just used it.
And this is Kate Cernich to serve, junior from River Forest, Illinois. Most of these players from parts other than California and the West Coast, as the Huskers pick up a point. They now trail 3-2.
Mishandled ball there by Texas. The key for both these teams is to be able to pick up balls off the block, because both of these teams are big and they both are great blocking teams. They've got to be able to pick up those balls off the block.
Breitenfield serving. Johnson able to put it down.
I'd say she's got some energy out there. Possibly nervous energy. Nebraska came out in the semis very tight. Pettit was quoted as saying, "We were so tight we could have played an overture."
And the players were really cognizant of that fact after the match. They said that we don't plan to be that way in the finals. Weston with a miscue on the serve. Side out Texas. Susan Chrisman.
Second service there for Nebraska already, so they may be tighter than they appear.
Chrisman with 44 aces on the season. That's why. 4-2 Texas.
A nice serve. She has a great dropping float serve. She played with Mick Haley's wife, Carrie, in Texas. An easy recruit for them.
There you see the blocking ability of Texas at the net. 5-2 Horns.
Katie Austin does a nice job here of setting this block. It's a tight set, tough to play.
Kept alive by the Horns. Sands at the net. Long. Side out.
She got a touch on that.
She did get a touch, so it's a point for the Longhorns. 6-2.
Beth, you'll notice right away very few balls are touching the floor without the block touching it.
Texas out to the early lead in game one.
For a while there, I felt like I was the only one who hadn't taken the high endurance challenge from Old Spice. It seemed like lots of guys were using it, so I gave it a shot. Because this proves it deserves a shot. It evaporates less quickly, also lasts longer, protects better. Old Spice guarantees it. If you don't think it's the best, call 1-800-PROVE-IT and they'll buy you a stick of your old deodorant. Mine never guaranteed anything like that. Guess that's why it's my old deodorant. Hey, take the high endurance challenge. Because now you got proof. Guaranteed.
Look who's headed for the big time in the big payback. These Discover Card members won the first 4 $250,000 prizes in our holiday sweepstakes. There are still 4 more prizes waiting to be won. So keep using your Discover Card, and you'll be automatically entered in our next drawing. Who knows? Maybe you'll walk off with a fortune, too. It pays to Discover, the card with the big payback. Use it where you see the Nova sign.
Texas jumping out to the early lead against top-ranked Nebraska in the women's NCAA volleyball final. And there you see the Longhorns, the only team other than a California or a Hawaii school to win the NCAA championship since it was first contested in the early 80s.
And this is the first time we have 2 non-West Coast schools in the finals. This is great for women's volleyball. It really shows how the sport has moved all the way across the country.
McFadden misses long. Texas now up 7-2. And Maria, when we return, we'll talk a little bit about how important it is for Texas to get up early, and they've done it here in game one.
On the 6th day of Christmas, my true love said to me,
Domino's Ultimate Deep Dish gets quite a reaction.
Rings. 4 calling birds, 3 French hens, 2 turtle doves.
A zesty, thick crust, cheese melted to the edge. It's ultimate deep dish, only from Domino's. Call now for a large with 1 topping, just $9.99.
They're growing up so quickly.
A partridge in a pear tree.
Our truck has broken down. We need help.
Better call Dad Collect.
Mike! What, girl?
I should dial 1-800-COLLECT? I'll save Dad lots of money on the car? And come Christmas, there'll be extra presents under the tree? Aw, thanks, girl.
1-800-COLLECT.
Texas 7, Nebraska 2 in Game 1 of the women's volleyball final. NCAA basketball on ESPN tonight. The Jeep Eagle Classic. Louisville against Georgia Tech at 7:30 Eastern. Followed by California and Minnesota at 9:30. And there's more. At midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific, it's Fresno State and Oregon. NCAA college basketball on ESPN. Coach Mick Haley of Texas talked about how important it was to play ahead against Stanford and as well as today against Nebraska. Maria, how important is this start for them?
You know what, it's really important because nobody thought Texas would be here. They didn't come here with, they didn't start the season really thinking that they would be in this position. So it's important that his players believe that they can win this match, and winning the first game is the first step in that.
They're up 7-2. Texas in white, Nebraska in red. And there is a point for the Huskers.
When you see Jen McFadden coming through offensively for Nebraska, you know they are elevating their game because she is out there for her blocking prowess. She's a great blocker.
That last point ended a 4-0 run for the Longhorns. Cross court to Austin. Katie Austin gets the side out.
Good job of Sands pushing the ball all the way across the court and out to Austin.
We've talked about the big guns, but Austin, one of the players to watch along with McFadden in terms of their emotional lift that they gave their teams in the semis and will probably try and do again today.
There's a double hit called on Nebraska. One of the things Texas does really well is serve, and especially serve short. Usually takes them a little while to warm up before you start seeing that from them.
Blocked by Texas. Another one. Sands with a big block. 9-3 Horns.
Sands playing with a lot of emotion right now. Look at how quickly she gets up and just closes off to the net.
Sands again. Demetria with another kill. 10-3 Texas. A reminder that Nebraska has only lost 8 games all year.
It's the 4th kill of the match for Sands. The reason she is so tough to block is because she can bang line, she can bang angle, she can mix it up, she finds a hole in the other defense. She does a great job of sizing up the defense on the other side of the net and putting the balls to the hole in the holes. And Mick Haley says it often takes her a while to warm up and figure out the other defense before she starts banging away, but that is not the case tonight. She came out with a lot of confidence and she's doing a great job for them.
She looks real warm at this point.
Yeah,
Are you
exactly.
surprised by the poise that she has displayed? This is her first time in the semis and now into the finals.
You know, I'm surprised by the poise because very few freshmen have it. There's a lot of responsibility on her, a lot of pressure, and yet she is handling it really well. I mean, we saw Kristen Focal in the semis. You know, she is under a lot of pressure for Stanford, and she didn't handle it very well the other night. It's a tough position for a young player to be in, and Kristen Focal's now a sophomore, but she had the same kind of pressure as a freshman. It's not an easy position to be in, but Sands seems almost unfazed by all of it.
How about Nebraska right now? What kinds of adjustments are they looking to make?
You know, I think they just need to settle down. They're not serving really well. They're not executing in the middle right now. They need to pass better so they can run their middle more efficiently.
set for Winsett. And she's able to get it down. Side out Huskers.
You know, and after Winsett's performance in the semis, I think Johnson needs to use her. I mean, use her until she starts to become ineffective, because she was incredible for them the other night.
Billy Winsett, the senior from Indiana, had a season-high 19 kills against Michigan State. Sance blocked by Reitzma.
It's a good matchup for Nebraska that they have Reitzma up against Sance, because Reitzma is obviously their best right side blocker. I mean, who do you want, a 6'4" Reitzma or a 5'8" Johnson up against Texas's #1 gun? So far, Sance has been okay, though.
That one blocked just wide, so a side out to Texas.
And Barnes saw this block here, and she just went up. She hit off the outside hands of Cernich. Nice job there.
Sance serving for Texas. Cernich.
Kate Cernich is one of those players. She's just a grinder. She's not a real analytical player. She just works really hard, finds a way to get the job done.
Maria Hedbeck has checked into the game and will serve for Nebraska, #8. Sophomore from Sweden. 10-4 Texas here in game 1. And Weston misfires on the attempt. Side out to Texas.
Nebraska's transition game is not working that smoothly right now. I think they did come out here a little tight.
They are the #1 ranked team. They've been atop the polls for most of the season. Another block up front. Keisha Bledsoe.
Nebraska needs to settle down and pull those passes off the net. They are jamming Johnson at the net, and she is not able to get those balls set.
11-4 Texas. Reitzma. That's one. Side out Nebraska.
Reitzma's tough to stop. She's a lefty on the right side, which means the ball doesn't have to cross her body to hit it, which means she can hit quicker. And you saw her beat the block there. Texas seems very relaxed, Beth.
Substitution Fiona Nepo in. Freshman from Hawaii to serve. Nice dig there by Carrie Bush. Did Weston get a touch? Referee says no. Side out to the Longhorns.
Fiona Nepo just checked into the game, and you see her mother sent lays to the Nebraska coaching squad.
And that was Bush long on the serve. Side out Nebraska. We saw two, Maria, the seniors came out with the lays on as well. Trying to give them a little something extra. Johnson. Ooh. Pretty back set for Weston for the kill.
Can't leave the net naked with Weston hitting the slide. She will take full advantage, and she does there. Kind of landed funny. Didn't appear to hurt her ankle, though.
The dig by Cernich. Weston with...
She's falling through into the net.
Just about to say 2 straight kills. But not the case. Side out to Texas.
With that 29-inch vertical jump of her, she can kind of lose control sometimes. She touches 10-4.
I think that first kill, too, Maria, really put a little life into the Huskers. And as I say that, an error and a point for the Longhorns. 12-5.
Breitenfield comes up with a great float serve. Maria Hedbeck, one of Nebraska's best passers, couldn't handle it. Handles that one, though.
My timing's a bit off like the Huskers here in game 1. Good save by Austin. Winsett's dug by Breitenfield. And Texas this time, the one's guilty of contact with the net.
You don't get the impression that Nebraska's really rattled by this 12-5 lead.
No.
I guess they learned a lot in that semifinal match.
They lost game 1 on Thursday and came back to win in 5. Sance with the kill.
They gave her a line and she took it. Her vision is incredible. You know, she was coached for 2 years in high school by her mother. Her mother was the assistant coach of her high school team, and then she took a head coaching job, and she played against her mother's team her last 2 years.
There's a side out for Nebraska. Huskers trailing 12-5 here in the opener of the national championship. Demetria Sants along with Jenna Roble as a service error from Christy Johnson. Jenna Roble from Michigan State, considered 2 of the top freshmen in the country this year. Roble was in the semis with the Spartans.
So I think if Texas wins the title, Sants has that position locked up as freshman of the year, and probably even if they don't, she'll get it.
There's a kill for Weston.
Weston handles it set very well. This is a tough set to hit as Johnson sets it running off the court. Weston bangs it behind the 10-foot line.
Speaking of accolades with Nebraska in the finals, she's closer to the Volleyball Magazine's Player of the Year award.
Absolutely, yes. If they win the title, I think she's got it.
She's the co-national player of the year with Stanford's Carrie Wendell. Great dig from Weston. And Cernich puts it off the block. Point Huskers, 12-6 Texas.
Cernich has been successful out there on the outside because she is just using the block. She's just keeping the ball in play. Consistent. You can see her here just high up the block.
Sants powers that one down.
I am impressed. Sants is going up against Reitzma. Reitzma is 6'4". She has a good jump. She's a good blocker. But look at Sants just hit her round that block and down the line.
Saw a moment ago with 5 kills for the freshman. How about Nebraska going to Cernich now?
Well, Johnson is setting her very well. That's something Christy Johnson does so well. She knows what a hitter needs. She's setting Cernich quick. Those are not high sets to the outside, and it's giving Cernich the ability to beat that outside block.
Jen McFadden to serve for Nebraska. Nebraska picks up another point. They're down 5.
Johnson's doing a good job of spreading the ball around to all of the hitters. And that is making them all more effective because Texas doesn't know who to block.
3 service errors here in the first game for Nebraska. Check that, 4. From some unlikely sources as well. Weston and Johnson have both had one, and now McFadden picks one up as well. Sonia Barnes back to serve for Texas. And there is another service error.
Trying to be a little too fine with that short serve.
That's an element of the Longhorn game that they use so effectively, Maria, against Stanford. How does that alter a team's rhythm?
Well, what it does is, I mean, Texas's strength is their block in the middle. So what they're doing is they're serving to their strength. By serving a team short, the teams will often run their middle, and then Texas will be blocking their middle, which they think is their strength. It's a great strategy by Michaeli.
Another nice dig, that one from Hedbeck. Breitenfield long, Nebraska now within 3.
It's a great run for Nebraska. Breitenfield just a little long here, didn't follow through with the snap.
A 4-0 Husker run, and they are now down 12-9 here in the first game to Texas. The Nebraska Cornhuskers in representing the Big 8 Conference. Next year, it'll be the Big 12 along with Texas. And you see their 14th tournament appearance, the 3rd time in the finals. They lost in both of those previous appearances. And for the Texas Longhorns, hailing from Austin, Texas, the year, their 2nd finals appearance, and they won it back in 1988.
They haven't been back since. You know, Mick Haley thought winning that 88 championship would do wonders for his program. He said all it did, in fact, was make everybody gun for Texas. He said it was impossible to get a match off of any top team because they all fired up to play Texas.
There you see the 4-0 run for Nebraska. And they have definitely settled down a little bit since a shaky start. And now have the momentum against Texas here in game one. The Longhorns were up on Stanford 14-11 in one of the games in the semifinals and could not hang on to that one. They end up losing that game, and now Nebraska is within 2.
You can see Christy Johnson just jumping around on the court. She knows how important it is for them to get off to a good start and pick up this first game. Serving errors continue to plague Nebraska.
Side out to Texas. Carrie Bush to serve for Coach Mick Haley's squad.
It's a 5th error for Nebraska serving.
Another short serve from Bush. Boy, Cernich is taking over.
8th kill of the match. Hasn't had an error yet.
And now she is back behind the service line. 12-10 Texas here in game one. Cernich keeps alive. Reisner from the back row. Caught the corner.
Such a huge advantage to have a couple of players that can bang the ball from behind the 10-foot line. And Nebraska does. Both Weston and Reisner do it well.
Texas was up 12-5. 6 points later, the Huskers are within 1. Oh! Nice play by Nebraska. Cernich digging the ball as well as killing here in game one. And Weston is long on the attempt.
Like a pinball game going on here.
Been seeing some great defense.
Absolutely. Look at this by Hedbeck, but even more amazing is Cernich.
Weston blocked by Sands.
You know, the reason it's such an advantage for Nebraska to have 2 players that can hit behind the 10-foot line is because, you know, Weston and Wrightsman are far apart in the rotation, so you've always got a player back there you can go to if you need it.
Another big block. That was Bledsoe at the net. Side out Nebraska. Allison Weston with the kill.
Weston has elevated her play very early in this game. We saw in the semis it took her a while. It was in game 4 that she started to really elevate, but you're seeing that level of play from her now.
Texas by 2. Too much Demetrius Sands right now. Another kill for the Longhorns, side out Texas.
Her coach Mick Haley says she reminds him of Elena Oden. Nebraska leading in the kills category, 21-13.
That's some pretty high praise for Sands.
Yes.
Weston. Setting stance again. Another kill for Demetria. Texas has a game point.
Very rare that you see a freshman that can do so many things offensively. A lot of confidence.
Texas with an opportunity to take game 1. Jane Winkle serving. Long on the attempt is Christy Johnson, and the Horns have hooked game number 1 of the national championship meeting with Nebraska here in Amherst, Massachusetts. The teams will change sides for game 2.
Christy Johnson had the right idea at the end of this play, just not executed well enough. Just long for her, and you can see here Mick Haley is holding back that grin that we saw so much on him in the semis.
Texas with the early lead in the final over Nebraska.
Oh boy, I can't stop. And my body is, how am I ever gonna?
Vicks NyQuil Liquid Caps.
Why is it the nighttime sniffling, sneezing, coughing, aching, stuffy head fever medicine? Why, so you can rest medicine, of course.
Hey, Santa, my time's getting short.
The perfect gift for the guy with every Craftsman tool? A Craftsman tool storage organizer. Sears has just about every size at great prices. Craftsman for Christmas. Only at Sears and Sears hardware stores.
There's no place on this team for Deion Sanders.
They're gonna be all over you like hot pants on a cheerleader. You ready? I was born ready, partner.
Yeah, I might not approve of that do-rag or fancy footwear, but you're A-okay with me.
Thanks, Dad.
Sir, they're in the shapes of little portals. And when you walk, they bark.
Shopping for the holidays?
We have 2 gigabytes, 16 megs of RAM.
We have a suggestion to help you through it.
It's a virtual reality mask. Look out, we're being invaded by spacemen.
Come to Wendy's for a delicious Monterey Ranch chicken sandwich. It's a whole breast filet, Monterey Jack, and a dollop of creamy ranch dressing blended with bacon.
That way everyone gets something they love for the holidays.
Come to Wendy's for a Monterey Ranch chicken sandwich today.
I'd like to think of the Sports Center talent as one big team, a happy family, but with any team, there's rookies, and you gotta haze them.
You gotta earn your wings to be at this place.
Fake fan letters. I mean, he's still upset about that. Oh, how about the glue on the keyboard? And then there's the big one, teleprompter.
When we return, a very special interview with Seymour Heine.
It's tradition.
You don't question tradition?
No, not around here, you don't.
Texas takes game 1 of the NCAA women's volleyball final, beating Nebraska 15-11. And Maria, both these teams played the tough schedule all year, and certainly in the NCAA tournament, they had 2 of the toughest roads to get here. And although neither coach is going to admit they want to lose any games, I think both of them were actually pretty pleased that they had the 5-game semis and were tested for today's game.
Absolutely. And even before coming here, I mean, Texas started the season 0-3. They were tested very early, and they were able to rebound. Nebraska had the most difficult regional. They had Ohio State, Penn State, and UCLA and their regional. That, though they were 3-game matches, that tested them also. Stanford didn't have a very difficult regional, and some people say maybe they weren't tested enough late in the season, and that hurt them.
Texas in white, Nebraska in red as we get set for game number 2. And Demetria Sands with 8 kills in game number 1. Kate Cernich had 8 kills for Nebraska. Maria, checking on some of those first game stats, we wanted to keep an eye on the blocks and the hitting percentages for both these 2 teams.
Well, blocks pretty even, and hitting percentages also, but service errors for Nebraska killed them in that first game. 5 service errors.
Side out Nebraska, they had 10 errors overall in that first game.
And Billy Winsett's the player that really came alive for Nebraska in the semis. They should use her more now.
Barnes got a piece of the sidelines, side out Texas.
Sonia Barnes has been fabulous for them in this match so far. She's a very keen player.
She really gets up over that net.
Absolutely.
Cernich comes through again, her 9th kill of the match.
Christy Johnson's doing a great job of mixing things up. It's not allowing the Texas block to cheat. You've noticed that Barnes can't leave until the last second to go out there because she doesn't know where Johnson is going, and it's giving Cernich a chance to beat the block. Plus, Johnson's setting her pretty quick out there.
Good play up front again. Barnes was there.
Sonia Barnes has been plagued by tendinitis in the knee, and it made her have a really slow start, but it doesn't appear to be bothering her at all in this match.
Nebraska was hoping that since they had seen some good blockers for Michigan State, that might carry over against Texas. Austin puts one into the net.
Katie Austin, not normally a player that hits from behind the 10-foot line. Did a good job of stepping in there, taking a shot at it, but it went into the net.
Wrightsman serving for Nebraska. No score here in game 2. Austin can't get it through the block. Weston was there.
And again, they go to Austin from behind the 10-foot line. Texas transition game not working real well right now. The 6th service error for Nebraska in this match.
That's a couple for Wrightsman, who struggled serving in the semifinal. In fact, ended up not serving when her rotation came around towards the end of the match. Side out, Nebraska.
Got to make that play happen. Ball coming over to the net like that. That was well played there, though, by Johnson. Boy, she took control.
Cernich serving. Breitenfield has it blocked right back in her face. Weston and Winsett were there. 2-0 Nebraska.
Tough to get around this block. See both their hands over the net.
Winsett long. Side out Texas. Coach Haley up off the bench, out almost onto the floor to talk with Kerry Bush, who will now serve for the Longhorns. Nebraska goes back to Winsett, and again, she is just long. Texas picks up a point. Nice dig by Kerry Bush. Weston able to put one down.
Billy Winsett struggling up front. She has her work cut out for her because she's going up against Katie Austin. And she's tall. She's a 6'2" right side player. There you saw her hit the ball. Right side position becoming so much more important in women's volleyball. It used to be where you kind of put your weak hitter. But you can tell by looking at these two teams, that's not the case anymore. 6'4" Wrightsman on the right for Nebraska. 6'2" Katie Austin for Texas.
McFadden able to drop one inside the back line. 3-1 Huskers. Nice play by Lakeisha Bledsoe. Side out Texas.
She's a great athlete.
Texas took game 1, 15-11. Austin with a nice hustling play. Winsett able to get it down.
Only a single block up on her. She was able to beat it. This is a great scramble play here by Texas. Notice how well they move as a unit. The whole team follows the ball off the court.
How much does that open up your options with just one blocker as opposed to two?
I think I mean, it's rare. Solo blocks are really hard to come by. It's a tough thing to do. I mean, as a hitter, it's a lot easier to hit around one pair of hands as opposed to two. You should never get blocked with just one blocker up. It happens every once in a while, but it's rare.
Nebraska out to the lead here in game 2, 4-1, trying to erase a one-game deficit to the Longhorns. We'll be back after this.
ESPN Net Sports Zone, the touchdown on the internet. Total NFL coverage, 24 hours a day. A blitz of information you can't find anywhere else. ESPN Net Sports Zone, the #1 football site on the internet.
Great sports sites. The #1 sports site on the net.
last thing this planet needs is another goofy gadget taking up valuable space. Yeah. Must be why Proform invented the Space Saver crosswalk. They don't call it Space Saver for nothing. Get it? Then get it.
Nebraska leading Texas here in Game 2 of the national championship matchup, 4-1. The Longhorns took the opener 15-11. Here's a look at recent champions, including 2 out of the last 3 years, the Stanford Cardinal and UCLA, the winningest team in postseason play. 91 and 90, Long Beach State 1993, all from the West Coast.
Dominance is diminishing, however. This is the first time ever to non-West Coast teams in the finals.
As you saw there, Game 1 very important in the postseason thus far.
Talked about the importance of having a big right side player. You know, it's kind of like in baseball. In the minor leagues, you can kind of get away with not having a great right fielder, but in the major leagues, they're important.
Huskers now up 6-1.
For Texas, Chantel Cornelius Davis is replacing Katie Austin.
Substitution, Chantel Cornelius Davis into the lineup, number 14. She replaces Austin. And Bledsoe was into the net. 7-1 Huskers.
Seems as if the Nebraska Cornhuskers have shaken off their nerves, playing very freely right now.
Nebraska on a 5-0 run in Game 2. Back after this.
See this? It's your ATM card. It's got your name, got your bank's name, but what if it had a MasterCard logo too? Then it'd be a MasterCard Master Money card. ATM card's so useful, it would also work like a check. So you could shop for stuff all over the planet at 12 million places where you see this. And the money comes out of your checking account, so you don't have to carry all that cash. So you see, Master Money is still your ATM card, only better. Neat trick, huh?
Ooh, okay, it's a little... Whoa. Short. So what's wrong with short? He's short. I like short when you're working for a special look. Hey, it's our anniversary. Oh, why not? Part of getting that look should include Kellogg's Special K. Boy, he can take it. Great toasted taste. Just 110 calories and fat-free. Kellogg's Special K. Great taste never looks so good. This is too funny.
Nebraska 7-1 in Game 2 here in Amherst, Mass. In the women's volleyball final. NCAA college basketball on ESPN2. Midnight Eastern tonight, Ball State and UNLV from the Thomas and Mack Center out in Las Vegas. Midnight Eastern, 9 Pacific on ESPN2. Nebraska #1 in the nation, Texas ranked #6. Playing for the national championship, the Huskers in search of their first title. Longhorns won it back in 1988. Sands is wide. Right now it's all Huskers, 8-1. Six unanswered points. Texas gets back to Sands. This time she delivers. Side out.
Demetrius Sands is carrying a big load for them right now. They're in trouble, and they are going to her with every set.
Susan Chrisman into the lineup. Nebraska with 13 hitting errors. Texas 11 at this point.
That's a lot of hitting errors for this early in the match, but I think the reason you're seeing it is because both these teams are such great blocking teams. It means you really think too much when you go up to hit. You've got to think about where the block is, and sometimes it takes away from your concentration on where you want the ball to go.
Again to Sands. Oh, she tried to finesse the last one, and that one was all power.
Her 10th kill of the match. This Texas just a gorgeous turn here by Sands. That's a big block. Reitma and McFadden both head and shoulders over the net, and yet Sands gets it by them.
That's through a block that's 6'4" and 6'2".
No, thank you. Thought they weren't that big when I was playing.
Into the net. Side out.
Texas is having a breakdown in its ball control, not enabling Kerry Bush to run the offense. They need to settle down and pass the ball here.
Nebraska, too, seems to be focusing in on Sands because right now the Longhorns haven't been going to anybody else here in this game.
When she's getting set that much, it's tough on her because the block just lines up out there. They don't have to think about it much.
Nice dig from Johnson. Cernich. 9-1 Nebraska.
Good vision by Cernich. She saw the line was left wide open. She took it. You can see how Bush set up far inside there.
Sands for the kill.
How about that hit? 8 feet off the net. It's that arm swing of hers when she follows through the topspin is incredible. Helps that she touches 10-5 and skies off the floor.
Just like you used to do it, right?
Yeah, and then I woke up.
Speaking of a wake-up call, the Horns could use one right now. Very reminiscent of the semifinals, Maria, when they pretty much fell asleep, lost to Stanford 15-0. And were able to rally from that. Right now down in Nebraska 9-1.
That didn't faze them when they lost 15-0 in that second game. We'll be at all surprised to see them rally back again. Not that time, though. Brightonfield is wide with that hit.
Well, a moment ago it was 2-1 Huskers. Now it's 10-1 Huskers. 8 unanswered points for Nebraska and a service error. Fiona Neppo into the net side out.
Texas needs Brightonfield to come alive here. She hasn't put a ball to the floor yet for Texas.
Nebraska winning 88% of their matches over the last 7 years. And in that span, they've got the second best record in the nation. Only UCLA has done it better.
Double hit there called. It's a nice pickup off that block by Winkle. See, the back row player rushed in to set it over, and they ran into each other.
Sands
attack. She crossed over the line. They called her for back row hitter. She's in the back row right now. She's got to take off from behind the 10-foot line.
We've got a timeout. 11-1 Nebraska here in game 2. Texas looking a bit befuddled right now.
You know, Mick Haley says he has had to change his coaching strategy with this team. He said, I just support them. He said they're one of those teams, you don't really try to direct them. In fact, in their match the other night after game 2, he said, I just quit coaching because everything I was telling them was wrong. I just let them play their game. He doesn't appear to be doing that now. He's probably just trying to encourage them to settle down. They're not passing the ball well right now, and their transition game seems a little off. They've got to go to someone other than Sands. She can't carry the entire load. The block is keying on her.
There you see Nebraska and Texas impressive. They've appeared in all but one of the NCAA playoff tournaments. And it was interesting watching Haley in that semifinal in game 4 and 5. He was in the huddle for just a few seconds whenever there was a break in the action, and then he stepped aside and let the seniors take over the huddle. And you won't hear too many coaches admitting they don't have to coach the team after game number 2, but he tells it like it is.
Yes. There you saw Terry Pettit, very, very hungry for his first championship.
He was with the Huskers when they lost in 1986 and 1989.
11 kills for Sands.
Texas will let that one go long. Service error again for the Huskers. Hasn't hurt them as much as it did in game 1, but those service errors now starting to pile up.
7 for Nebraska.
And Weston and Johnson. You won't see too many miscommunications between those two.
Absolutely not. Johnson, the quarterback of this team, normally does a great job of communicating with their team. Just a little miscommunication there.
That snapped the 9-0 Nebraska run. Winston. Sands blocked by Weston.
They've got her number. That was a well-timed block there by Weston. It's tough to block a hit out of the back row. It's just really tough to time it.
We mentioned Texas, the top blocking team in the nation, but of course Nebraska not too shabby at it either.
Winston puts that one down in the corner. Winston's most effective as a hitter when she can beat the block, and that's what she did there. She just got up there quick. Surnich did a nice job of, no, I'm sorry, that was Johnson. She did a nice job of pushing the ball out. And again, she got Winston the quick set so she could beat the block.
Seems right now, Maria, that Nebraska just has more people who are able to put it on the floor. Texas has been exclusively Sands here in game 2.
That's right, no one else is pulling through for him. That's the first time that Breitenfeld has put the ball down for Texas.
Side out Longhorns.
Haven't left Terry Bush with many options.
McFadden block. So quick to get that one over the net for a side out.
Jen McFadden, look at her there. I mean, she is the spark plug of this team. You'll see her yelling through the net. She always has this wide-eyed expression on her face.
One of those players that'll show up not on the stat sheet, but her teammates know what she does for them. Winsett with a kill. 13-2.
Winsett's figured out that block. Wide-eyed Jen McFadden, spark plug of Nebraska.
Winsett into the net, side out.
Side out.
Substitution coming on for Texas. Susan Chrisman. You see Nebraska in control here in game 2 after Texas took game 1, 15-11. That was Sonia Barnes missing wide.
Texas trying to be a little too exact right now.
Billy Winsett to serve. Nice dig from Weston. Reitzman was there for the block for Nebraska. Game point, Cornhuskers.
Nebraska solely keying on Demetrius Sands and doing a good job of it.
Winsett serving for game 2. That's been all too commonplace today for Nebraska. Another service error, side out.
8th missed serve for Nebraska.
Tammy Jurgens, number 12, into the Texas lineup to serve. Coach Haley trying several different lineups.
That's a great serve.
And a side out, Cernich.
Cernich has done a good job for Nebraska. Really seen that Texas block well. You know, one of the advantages that both of these teams have is that they're used to hitting against big blocks in practice. And you can see that both teams are good at using the block.
the second game point. Nebraska gets it done. The Huskers 15-2 convincingly in game 2.
It's safe to say that Texas has a game 2 jinx in these championships. 15-0 in the semis, 15-2 here. But as you know, Beth, they can come back and rally.
Which they did in the semis. 15-2, Nebraska takes game 2 to even it up. We'll be back to Amherst in a moment, but Sports Smash coming up with Reese Davis.
Roll into Pep Boys right now and get a full set of 4 70,000-mile tires for just $169. That's any size, any 4 70,000-mile tires in stock for just $169 at Pep Boys now.
I don't see them. I think we're safe.
Of course we're safe. We're in my Subaru Outback.
I know the world's first sport utility wagon.
This beauty's got dual airbags, full-time all-wheel drive, and it's more stable in the turn than a Blazer.
What else you got?
Better braking than an Explorer. That's my Subaru Outback, the world's first sport utility wagon.
Coors Light, the silver bullet, is shipped cold to tap the clean taste of the Rockies.
Tap the Rockies. Coors Light.
Hey Santa, I need a great gift.
Easy. Count on Craftsman. Just look at these powerful gift ideas. There's something for everybody. Your choice, just $29.99. Craftsman for Christmas. Only at Sears and Sears hardware stores.
I began gymnastics competition as a child. I've always loved the sport, but competition also brings pressures. Like many other gymnasts, I resorted to extreme weight loss behaviors. Every athlete knows that striving for excellence requires sacrifices, but no medal, prize, or public acclaim is worth the sacrifice of your mental and physical health.
If you are struggling with unhealthy eating behavior, the National Eating Disorder Screening Program can help you. Contact your campus health or counseling center for more information.
Hello, welcome to the Smash. I'm Reese Davis. We're going to get you back out to Amherst in just a bit for the exciting conclusion of the Texas-Nebraska NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship. First, got to get you up to date on what else is happening in sports. Let's start with the NFL. Desperation versus killer instinct. The Patriots just about ready to be fitted for toe tags in the playoff race, while the Steelers were trying to lock up a first-round bye and keep the heat on the Chiefs in the race for home field advantage. Three Rivers Stadium, Bill Cowher's crew looking for their 8th straight win. Tied at 27 late in the 4th, Neil O'Donnell a dart, and Ernie Mills is a ghost. 62 yards. A safety's middle name has to be deep that late in the game, and Patriots weren't. Patriots trying to come back. Bledsoe hits his favorite target, Ben Coates, but Greg Lloyd strips it free, and Chris Oldham says, I'll take that, and slip a couple of tackles and take it to the house. 23 yards. Steelers win it 41-27. That was Pittsburgh's second defensive touchdown of the afternoon. 8 straight wins now for the Steelers. That's their longest run since a 9-game winning streak in 1979. And you will recall that's the last time they won the Super Bowl. And by the way, Cordell Stewart, his first NFL rushing touchdown in that game. Green Bay and New Orleans. Reggie White is in uniform, and he is playing for the Packer defense. But it's Brett Favre stealing the show in front of lots of friends and family down in New Orleans. He's from southern Mississippi, of course. Favre has 3 touchdown passes, a couple of them to Robert Brooks. They're up on the Saints 21-7. College hoop now, in many ways, Indiana and Kansas are mirror images. Both love the tough man defense. Both can slice you to bits with a passing and motion offense. The difference seems to be talent. The Jayhawks are oozing with it, while the Hoosiers rely heavily on Brian Evans. After that, gets a little bit spotty. Plus, the Jayhawks wanting some revenge. Bob Knight exhorting, admonishing Charlie Miller. Jacques Vaughn swiped it from Sharon Wilkinson. Kansas in control early. Jayhawks lost to the Hoosiers by 19 a year ago. Thanks in large part to that man, Mr. Evans, drilling the 3. Hoosiers down by just 4. Indiana on the break. Harris Mujazinovic. Roy Williams said, how did you say that name? Mujazinovic, Roy. And still the Jayhawks up by 9, 54-45 at the break. You see, interestingly enough, Indiana leads the all-time series 7-5. Just thought you'd want to know that. Washington and Michigan, Steve Fisher. Oh, this one's tight. It's late. 34 seconds to go. Jason Hamilton tries to send it inside, but traveling's called on the Huskies, and Washington will get one more shot. Bryant Boston. Bryant Boston. He has Maceo Baston. That one displeased Maceo, so he swatted it out. The big block, and Baston was the hero, not just for the block, but for his 23 points and 10 boards as 18th-ranked Michigan survives a sloppy performance, only 40% from the floor and 15 of 32 from the free throw line, but the Wolverines win it 60-59. Virginia Tech takes on Georgia. That one just underway. The Dogs do have the home court advantages at the Georgia Dome. It's not at the house that Stinky Daniels built in Athens. And if you know who Stinky Daniels is, you're like me and you watch way too much college basketball. Marquette beats Santa Clara 78-49, the final in that one. We're going to come back at you with some more Smash right after you give us a break.
Dear Dave, I was making up my holiday list when I suddenly realized I already have everything. Then it struck me. I haven't had one of your delicious Monterey Ranch chicken sandwiches in a long time. That irresistible combination of Wendy's whole breast filet, creamy ranch dressing blended with bacon and Monterey Jack. I'd pay $1 million to have one right now.
Delivering Wendy's Monterey Ranch chicken sandwich. It's back.
Jesse, you're next.
I'm all yours.
Save it for the stage, Romeo.
Carol always gives it to me straight. Like when she told me about my...
I told him about Head & Shoulders. Regular shampoos just rinse flakes away so they could come back. Head & Shoulders helps prevent flakes from even forming. You see the difference? You look great.
Thanks, but will it get me this part?
Couldn't hurt.
Head & Shoulders, because great hair can't have flakes.
Hey, break a leg.
My turn to twisted. To meet the Carmel King of the castle, keeping his tight, CL smooth, sipping on Spritite. It's the Mechadon, never swerving untitled, knowing commercial rap needs to be recycled. Collecting cans for next picks, my latest LP. Now obey my thirst, some precisely.
I got the knack to rock, I'm steady heating up the spot. The chocolate boy wonder making heads bop. Plus
You will be called private, specialist, or sergeant. Beneath the ribbons on your chest will be the souls of those who came before. You will be an individual, but triumph as a team. You will know strength, courage, and compassion. You will win what must be won, achieve what must be done. A soldier.
Welcome back. College football now, the Division I AA Championship. Montana taking on Marshall. Fourth quarter, Montana up 19-13. This is why they call Marshall the Thundering Herd. Chris Parker breaking tackles, going through the D and scoring to put Marshall up by 1. 4th and 2, Montana was driving. Dave Dickinson hits Mike Earhart first down. That sets up Andy Larson. It's long enough, it's straight enough, and doggone it, the Grizzlies like it. It's the winner, 22-20. Montana captures its first national championship. We're going to get you back out to a volleyball championship. Nebraska and Texas going to settle the deal. Beth and Maria come at you soon.
I want to know about meeting that special someone.
Sorry. Can't help you there.
I want to know more about a diet I can live with.
No way. Not in this commercial.
I want to know more about Rogaine.
Rogaine with minoxidil?
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Yeah.
Okay. Just call this number now for a free information kit on Rogaine Topical Solution. It could help answer your questions because it's filled with all kinds of facts about Rogaine. And because you need a prescription to get Rogaine, we'll send you a list of local doctors and special money-saving offers to help you decide if Rogaine is right for you.
But I want to know right now.
We'll mail it to you today. So what are you waiting for? Call now for your free information kit. Call 1-800-336-9992.
Welcome Welcome back to Amherst. We're tied at 1 game apiece, and in that second game, Maria, it was the outside hitters really giving Nebraska the inside track to the title at this point.
You know, and it's interesting because all year long people have been saying Nebraska's so strong in the middle, not so much outside. The other night in the semis, it was Winston that came on strong, and tonight it has been Cernich. And look, Nebraska leads in kills 36-20. And Texas in game 2 with 13 hitting errors. They are just not executing well enough.
And one of the things that Coach Haley talked about yesterday was he said, the way my team has been playing Texas, we haven't been beating ourselves. Nebraska is going to have to take this from us. And in that second game, they did, in fact, hurt themselves with those errors.
And, you know, one of the other things I said to look for in the beginning of the match is if Nebraska starts to lead in the blocking category, then you know Texas is struggling, and that has, in fact, happened. Nebraska is leading in total blocks, 7. Texas only has 6. Not a huge disparity, but Texas' strength is in its blocking. They need to lead in the blocking category to be successful. Kate Cernich, 11 kills. She's hitting .647.
She has been very impressive. She's doing the job that Winsett did in the semis, picking up a little bit of the slack.
Texas has got to find someone else to set the ball to. Sands has 29 attempts. Brightonfield has 15. No one else is in double figures.
Meanwhile, Nebraska has 4 players in double figures in attempts, and they've got the 1-0 lead here in game 3. Christy Johnson serving, and the Huskers up 2-0.
Coach Pettit says Christy Johnson is our MVP. She is the player that drives the team. She demands that everyone on the team play at a certain level.
And you jinxed her. There you see 29 assists, leads all players. One of 3 All-Americans along with Weston and Reitzma on the first-team squad. And a point for Texas, interestingly enough, Maria, the Longhorns without a player on the first team.
You know, if you have seen Texas play, you know they are a short-serving team. You've got to take a step up. They just beat them there.
Winsett puts one down. Side out to Nebraska. Demetrius Sands and Kerry Bush were both selected to the second-team All-American squad.
Yeah, Texas with no first-team All-Americans.
Again to Cernich, and this time she's just long. Side out to the Huskers, or excuse me, to the Longhorns, and Sands will serve. Reitzma blasts that one off of Bush for the side out.
Such an advantage to be on the right side and yet be a lefty. You get in there so quickly, the ball doesn't have to cross your body, and that's what you saw Reitzman do there. She just beat the block. You know, she was only 6'2" coming into college. She's 6'4" now. She was not heavily recruited at all.
Coach Pettit hoping there's 2 more inches to come for junior and senior years.
Imagine 6'6".
Nebraska will pick up another point. 3-1 Huskers. Tied at 1 game apiece. Texas took the opener 15-11. Nebraska in a blowout in game 2, 15-2. And in the early going of game 3, they have held on to the momentum.
Cernich has been fabulous banging that line. Texas's defense leaves the line open. They put a digger down the line, but Cernich is pounding the ball straight down and beating the digger and the block.
And there's Brightonfield putting one down. As you mentioned, she's got to start coming alive. She really didn't show herself until the 4th game in the semis, and I don't think Texas can afford that luxury this time.
You know, she was an All-American in high school. She blew out her knee her junior year, so she was not heavily recruited. But she also never got all of her movement back. Great serve there by Barnes. Again, another good short serve in front of the Nebraska passers.
Both
Winsett,
points.
it's like in quicksand there, not able to move her feet, but what a dropping serve.
Both Texas points in this game, aces.
Smart of Barnes to go back at Winsett.
Wow. Two missed timings that we've seen in the match between Johnson and Weston.
Johnson was just a little too high with that set. Weston couldn't get to it. It's very precise, that timing between the setter and the middle hitter on that quick set.
That time they got it right. Texas was there defensively. Brightonfield.
To continue what I was going to say about Brightonfield, she never got all of her movement back from blowing out her ACL her junior year. She used to be a middle blocker, and Haley moved her to the outside because you need a lot of side-to-side movement out of the middle blocker, so they put her outside, and it's worked for them.
2 Brightonfield kills and 2 aces. Texas is tied game 3.
Tonight feels kind of weird, but it's a good weird. I can feel it in my bones. This is not going to be your run-of-the-mill laundry-doing, pizza-eating kind of night. I will not be exercising tonight, or philosophizing, or organizing. What I am going to do is look for women who look like trouble, and I'm going to flirt with them heavily. Because tonight, I'm not just drinking beer. I'm gulping life. I'm going to eat the night alive. What are you going to do? Hold tonight. Step outside.
Santa, I've had another job offer.
Oh, no. How can we change your mind? How about a raise? Company's led?
No one can resist Long John Silver's popcorn fish or new country-style popcorn shrimp. A quarter pound with fries is just $1.99.
Maybe if you gave me your popcorn fish.
Keep in touch, kid.
Right now, collect a holiday crystal for just 99 cents each.
Game 3 tied at 4 for women's volleyball. You can check out the basketball smorgasbord tonight on ESPN. Louisville, Georgia Tech at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. That's followed by California and Minnesota. Pac-10 meets Big Ten at 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 Pacific. And finish it off with Oregon, Fresno State at midnight Eastern on ESPN. Texas on a 3-0 run to tie game number 3. And there you see the momentum that Nebraska has built up. Game 2 leading into game 3. Nice dig from Winsett. That's saying something about Cernich when you've got Weston and Reitzma, and Johnson continually goes to her, and that is a career-tying kill. A career-high 13 now for Cernich. And the substitution, Reitzma's out, and Nepo is back in to serve.
Cernich just doing a great job of banging that line. She knows it's open, and she is hitting it precisely.
Brightonfield really starting to take charge now in game number 3.
She just does a nice job here of turning the ball. She kind of approaches as if she's hitting angle and then turns it down the line.
Tied at 4. Kerry Bush to serve, and there's an error. Side out to Nebraska.
Kerry Bush is an interesting story. She came into Texas, and Haley promised her that she could set for them. The setting position was not open, so he moved her to the outside, so she played outside hitter her first 2 years and has set her last 2 years. To give you an idea of her athleticism. And a 5'11" setter, that's a big setter.
And in just 2 years setting her, she's become one of the best ever for the Hornets.
Absolutely.
Nebraska picks up the point. They take the 5-4 lead.
You know, one of the things these two teams have in common is patience. They're both very patient teams, and a lot of that comes from their setters. Obviously, Bush was willing to wait to be their starting setters. A lot of players would have gone somewhere else.
Winsett. And the whistle goes against Texas.
They called Katie Austin into the net.
6-4 Huskers. Coach Pettit for Nebraska made an interesting comment about those semifinal matchups, Maria, when he was talking about it's not necessarily the most talented team, it's the team that can outlast the other one when you get to this stage in the season. Would you agree?
Absolutely. Like I said, I mean, both of these teams have patience. Number 5, Christy Johnson, who leads Nebraska. She came in, she was told she was going to get to set a 6-2 because of injuries on their team. They switched to a 5-0. She played behind their number 1 setter, Nikki Stricker, for years, and then she redshirted a year to play with this squad. I mean, if that isn't patience, I don't know what is.
Weston with a big-time kill. Johnson obviously with some foresight to realize who was going to be around this year that she would be playing with, and it certainly paid off. Sants gets it through the block.
Yeah, I've got to believe if there's any player on the court right now that is the hungriest for this national championship, it's Christy Johnson. Demetria Sants there just used Johnson on that block.
Chrisman serving for Texas. Well, Texas started out with a couple of aces earlier in the game, and now a couple of service errors. Nebraska 6-4. McFadden did not get the line.
She was expecting someone to be up there, looking for a piece of somebody's hands, but Texas stayed on the floor.
Austin serving. Reitzma.
That was beautiful. Looked as if she was going to go angles, turned it down the line. You know, Lisa Reitzma does everything right-handed but hit.
Nebraska, you see, almost doubling Texas in the kill department. Whoops. And whistle will go against Reitzma. That is amazing when you think about it. How she's so adept with that left hand at the net and really uses the right for everything else, like you said. Cernich. Kate Cernich, the junior from River Forest, Illinois, making her presence felt here in the national championship.
She continues to better her career kill record. That's 14 in this match so far.
Only in game 3.
I think Lisa Reitzma needs to put her paws away and start bump setting a little bit. It's been called twice in a row.
Side out to Texas.
Ball's got to come off clean, and you can't give Breitenfeld a ball like that. She'll put it down.
Third service error of this game. Reitzman at serve. Nebraska leading 6-4. Weston blocked. Bledsoe was there.
That was a nice job by Bledsoe. She got up quick there. She read this play. See her make her move here.
That ball was almost all the way over the net and coming down the other side by the time Bledsoe got a piece of that one. Weston long. And the Huskers finally get off that 4th point, are now down 1. Wow.
Texas looks really sloppy right now. Normally such a great serving team. Right? They're trying to be too precise with that short serve.
Sands good hustle to keep it in play. Another block for Bledsoe. That's why they call them the Killer Bees. They can be lethal at the net. Bledsoe, Breitenfeld.
That's the main reason Breitenfeld's out there on the court is because of her blocking. This is just a fabulous get there by Sands to keep that ball in play.
No blocking that one from Weston.
Weston and Johnson have struggled a little bit in this game with that connection, but not that time.
McFadden back into the Nebraska lineup. Weston to serve. Nebraska up 1. We're in game 3. Texas took game 1. Huskers game 2. McFadden inserted into the lineup and immediately makes an impact.
Very aware play there by McFadden. She turned and she saw hands and she just went up and dinked the ball off the blocker's hands.
Nebraska by 2 midway through game 3.
Let's talk exercise.
Lifting the TV remote. Does that count?
What if it were easy?
Oh, I'd like to know what you call easy.
20 minutes a day, 3 days a week.
And what do we call this marvel of modern exercise?
The Nordic Rider, new from Nordic Track.
The new Nordic Rider is the smooth, easy way to get fit at a great price. Advanced push and pull dual motion lets you exercise more muscle groups, including your arms, legs, back, chest, and stomach. Burn off calories and get a better total body workout with the new Nordic Rider. Yours for only $299.95. The Nordic Rider is from Nordic Track, a recognized leader in home fitness, so your complete satisfaction is guaranteed. Try it for 30 days in your home and see the result. If you're not 100% satisfied, send it back for a refund. Call now for a free information kit about the only rider that's good enough for the Nordic Track name. The Nordic Rider. Call the number on your screen today for a free information kit.
Nebraska leading Texas 7-5 in game 3 of the women's volleyball final here in Amherst, Massachusetts. And there you see Kathy Note, the Nebraska assistant and former member of the U.S. national team. And
that's right, she was on the team from 85 to 88. In fact, 2 former Nebraska players are currently on our national team. Lori Endicott sets and Stephanie Thader's a middle blocker. And I would say that one of the players on Nebraska team now that plays middle blocker may have a future on the national team. Of course, talking about Allison Weston.
Also a possible future Olympian Demetria Singh.
Absolutely. You know, you talk to Allison Weston, though, about her future. She says, I need some time off. I've been playing forever. You take about a year and a half off and fish.
Going bass fishing, right?
You ask her, what do you fish? Or whatever, but
that's the best thing to fish I've found in my limited fishing experience. Whatever I catch, that's what I'm fishing.
Yes.
Right now, Nebraska up 7-5. Winsett with the kill. Christy Johnson to serve.
Christy Johnson, the emotional leader of this team, along with McFadden. They are connecting right now.
She just slam dunked that one over the net. Winsett makes the play for the Huskers. 9-5 Nebraska.
Nice play by Winsett, but great dig by Johnson. Keep this ball in play. It's a tough ball that came right at her, kind of high. And Winsett there just finding the line.
Timeout on the floor. Nebraska leading Texas, trying to take the 2-1 lead. Back after this.
All right, gentlemen. Tomorrow, your butts are mine. Lights out. Man, I'm hungry.
Russell Athletic Wear is made to handle the toughest situations on and off the field.
Hot dog, French fries, hamburger, tacos, tacos grande, pizza. Coach, going somewhere, ladies. Hard work, dedication, commitment.
Get Russell Athletic. Get tough.
Get up there, large butt. Go, go.
When I took the high endurance challenge from Old Spice, I really thought it was going to be a challenge. I mean, this is a challenge. This is a sure thing. It evaporates less quickly. It also lasts longer, protects better. Old Spice guarantees it. Now, if you don't think it's the best, you call 1-800-PROVE-IT and they'll buy you a stick of your old deodorant. So if you're looking for a real challenge, go climb a mountain. If you're looking for the best deodorant, Try a high endurance from Old Spice, because now you got proof. Guaranteed.
NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship here at Mullins Center in Amherst, Massachusetts. Nebraska leading game 3, 9-5. And for the first time ever, Maria, the finals come to the East Coast. And just down the road from the Volleyball Hall of Fame, it's the 100th anniversary of the invention of the sport.
1, 2, 10, let's go! I bet they'd be surprised to see what it has come to.
A lot of excitement here throughout the course of the weekend. And a block from Barnes.
Nice hang time there by Sonia Barnes.
She gets the side out for Texas. Katie Austin to serve. Reitzma beats the block. Side out Nebraska.
Reitzma was able to hang up there and wait for the block to be on its way down. Just put it through.
Winsett serving for the Huskers. Barnes able to plant that one. Side out Texas.
Look at this hang time here by Barnes. She's up in the air a while before she swings at the ball.
Cernich was into the net. Point, Texas.
That was a tight set.
Sands serving. Texas down 3 in game 3. Reitzma can't get it by Breitenfield.
That's a great block there by Breitenfield. She lined up on Reitzma perfectly.
Cernich. Side out. And
Cernich again, just using the hands of the Texas block.
9-7, Nebraska. Hedbeck has checked into the game to serve for the Huskers. Nicely done by Breitenfield. She has stepped in for Sands and now carrying some of the load here in game 3. She gets the side out.
We said earlier, someone else needed to step up for Texas, and Breitenfield has done that. Sands may be getting a little tired.
I was going to say, probably just as important as it gives her a break.
Yes. She's taken a lot of swings tonight already.
Reitzma gets the side out for Nebraska, and she will go back to serve.
I have never seen a player as big as Reitzma use the block so well, and there's Sands carrying a big load for Texas.
Reitzma serving, Nebraska up 2. Breitenfield again.
You know, she's one of those players, and her coach was telling me the other night, she kind of disappeared in the match for a while and then re-emerged later. And we haven't really noticed her in this match so far. She's been mostly ineffective, but in the last few minutes, she has come alive.
Allison Weston, Nebraska showing so many weapons. Weston gets the kill and the side out. Cernich serving. Don't even have to say who anymore. It's all Breitenfield right now for Texas.
7th kill of the match for Breitenfield. Most of those have come in this game.
Winsett. Their last 4 kills have come from 4 different players for Nebraska.
Winsett comes from a long tradition of volleyball. 3 sisters played major Division I ball. Becky at Southern Illinois, Beth at Purdue, and Barbara at Illinois.
Winsett would be the first to get a ring if Nebraska wins today.
That's right.
Nebraska up 10-7.
16th kill of the match for Winsett. She was effective early. She too kind of disappeared there a little bit in the middle of the match and now has come alive again.
Substitution is Cornelius Davis is back on for Texas. McFadden may have mishit that one. Texas thought they got it.
Demetria Sands went in with the pancake dig. She got underneath it. She thought it was clean. Look at this and see if we can tell. She thinks she popped the ball up clean with a pancake dig. Referee called it.
Nebraska, though, picked up the point, up 11-7. Sands off the mark. 12-7 Nebraska.
Sands continues to carry a big load. She passed that ball and had to get back for her approach to hit it. Not able to do so effectively.
3 straight points for the Cornhuskers. They are now up 12-7 here in game 3. Game 1 went to Texas 15-11. Nebraska took game 2 15-12.
You know, one of the things I've noticed about this Nebraska squad is that they've really done a good job of using all of their hitters. That's something that both Michigan State and Stanford were known for coming into these championships. Not Nebraska. Most of their offensive load was carried by Reitzma and Weston, but several players have surfaced for them. Wensett and Cernich, McFadden have stepped up. It's enabled them to move the ball around, and it's also kept for the Texas block from being terribly effective because they don't know who to key on. Christy Johnson responsible for much of that. She does a good job of setting the ball to her hot hitters.
Johnson, the All-American, with over 1,350 assists in her career. Here's the last point.
You can see Demetria Sands moving in there to pass that ball. It is sprayed off. Texas's ball control has been a little erratic. Wensett again, using the top of the block. Sands just not able to get all the way back there for that approach, and she turns the ball too much.
12-7 Nebraska. Weston to serve. Nice serve from Weston. Bledsoe misfires. Nebraska now 2 points away from game 3.
Not uncommon for this Texas team to have their ball control break down, and that has been what has cost them this game so far. Sands did a good job of getting under that. A really, really high set, not handled well by Bledsoe.
One of those situations, I think, where she almost had too much time to think about that one.
Yeah.
No time on that one as Cornelius Davis swats it down. Side out. Jane Winkle to serve. Good dig from Brightonfield. The set for Sands. McFadden. Kill Jen McFadden, side out.
Great move here by Brightonfield to get under this ball. Look at her just sprawling out on the floor. For a big girl, she can get low.
Again, Johnson setting McFadden. Game point, Nebraska.
Johnson does it as well as anyone, using her hot hitter. She can see McFadden is on fire. You can hear McFadden all the way outside. Johnson is using her.
McFadden, 6-0 Nebraska run to end game 3, and the Cornhuskers take it 15-7. Jen McFadden with the final 3 points of the game, and Nebraska is now up 2-1.
McFadden doing a great job at the net there, and that's just a smart play to go up and direct the ball into the corner. Terry Pettit seeing finally he is very close to his first championship, concealing a grin there.
Nebraska, a whole lot of weapons. That time McFadden getting it done. Game 4 coming up.
Jesse, you're next.
I'm all yours.
Save it for the stage, Romeo.
Carol always gives it to me straight. Like when she told me about my...
I told him about Head & Shoulders. Regular shampoos just rinse flakes away so they could come back. Head & Shoulders helps prevent flakes from even forming. You see the difference? You look great.
Thanks, but will it get me this part?
Couldn't hurt.
Head & Shoulders, because great hair can't have flakes.
Hey, break a leg.
Domino's Ultimate Deep Dish gets quite a reaction.
Rings.
A thick crust, cheese melted to the edge. Call for a large Domino's Deep Dish with one topping, just $9.99.
Free.
Hey, Santa, I need a great gift.
Well, here's a gift you can open year-round. A Craftsman half-horsepower garage door opener, just $139.99. Craftsman for Christmas, only at Sears and Sears hardware stores.
Have you heard? Class is outside today.
Great!
There are plenty of places for college students to study.
Yeah, class outside.
All right.
Class is outside. Make sure you tell Miller.
However, some learning environments are more stimulating than others. To learn how you can earn college credit in the Navy.
Where's Miller?
I thought you told him.
I thought you were going to tell him.
And get up to $30,000 to finish your degree. Call 1-800-USA-NAVY.
Nice of you to join us, Miller.
Today's college student athletes face unparalleled pressures. The NCAA and its members provide the tools to help student athletes meet the challenges of life beyond the playing field through the Champs Life Skills Program. This program seeks to assure student athletes of success academically, athletically, and emotionally. The Champs Life Skills Program, preparing the whole person.
This message provided by the NCAA.
Nebraska taking games 2 and 3 to take the 2-1 lead over Texas in the NCAA women's volleyball final. And Maria, it may be a case of the Longhorns having Nebraska right where they want them. You see at the bottom of the screen in the semis, Texas fell behind, losing games 2 and 3, and then rallied to win it in games 4 and 5.
That's right, you can never count this Texas team out. And the thing about this is in the third game against Stanford, they were up, they lost a lead. You'd think if anything's going to break the back of a team, it's losing 15-0 and then losing a big lead, but it did not. And don't be surprised to see a new Texas team on the floor right here. The reason they were not successful in that last game is because they didn't pass the ball well enough. Their ball control was atrocious, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that Nebraska served the ball so well. And here, Jen McFadden really did a good job of dominating the net at the end of the game. And, you know, the other thing is, as I mentioned, Christy Johnson is distributing the ball to so many players. 4 of the 5 players had 10+ kills, and Reitzma had 9. So it's tough for the Texas block to key on any one player. There's no cheating when you're blocking, when you're going to that many different players. And Christy Johnson, I mean, this is such a focused, dynamic player. I guarantee you, she is the most excited player on the whole court right now. She is just moments away from her dream, probably in her mind. As I mentioned, you can't count this Texas team out.
Texas rallied to wins game 4 and 5 over the defending national champ Stanford in the semis. They'll have to rally again if they want to win the title. Kill for Reitzma.
Lisa Reitzma with the kill. Side out Nebraska.
Side out Nebraska. Texas with the early 1-0 lead here in game 4.
Just missed. Sonia Barnes celebrating that block. She was saying, yes, in your face. And it was out. Thought it was in.
Missed by just a bit. And we're tied at 1. That time, Barnes finds the mark. Side out, Texas.
Nice elevation there by Cernich. she got over the block that time. Kate Cernich having the match of her life. Straight deep hit.
Hedbeck is on to serve. Nebraska doubling up Texas in the kill department.
Again, much of that has to do with that 15-2 game, game 2. Nebraska just dominated. Nice positioning by Barnes there down the line. Nebraska playing at a very high level right now. Very upbeat team.
2-1 Nebraska. They take game 4. They take the national championship back to Lincoln. There's a kill for Breitenfield.
Angie Breitenfield, she's settled into her game. Executing very well. Key to have that much size on your team, to have an outside hitter that's 6'2". You don't see that very often.
Breitenfield blocks Reitzma. Cernich kept alive by the Huskers. Not that one.
We said Texas needed a few more players to surface offensively. Look at this get here by Billy Winsett. Nice scramble.
Tied at 2 in game 4. Cernich that time takes care of business. Side out Nebraska. Reitzma will serve. Nebraska leading 2 games to 1.
That looks good.
That one looked real good from Jane Winkle. I thought the initial call was that it was out.
It was. The linesman called it out. Somebody overruled them, though.
Weston makes sure of that one.
Nice job there by Weston. She stayed behind the ball real well.
Cernich serving for Nebraska. Nice dig by Reitzma. Breitenfield, bit too far back. Nebraska takes the 3-2 lead.
Play like that, Breitenfield's just got to go up and try to keep it in. Ball was 13 feet off the net.
Weston just misses long.
That was a good play there by Sands. She knew she wasn't in good position. She kind of ran under the ball, and she just kept it in play. She waited for Nebraska to make the error. Something Texas does really well. It's rare they beat themselves. I mean, we've seen them do that in this game so far. It's not a quality that you normally attach to this Texas squad, though.
Weston, another kill down the line. Side out Nebraska. 3-2 Cornhuskers in game 4.
A gorgeous hit there by Weston. Her 18th kill of the match. Excuse me, her 13th kill of the match.
Nicely played by Barnes. Nebraska saying she was over the net, and Sonia was quick to point out she wasn't.
She went up very eloquently there, stayed on her side.
Didn't have to plead her case for too long. That was a nice play. McFadden off the block for the side out Nebraska.
Texas has got to try to get 2 blockers up on that slide.
Johnson serving. Sonia Barnes.
It's a nice finesse play there by Barnes. It's a very keen player.
Barnes was just 3 blocks shy of a triple-double in the semifinal win over Stanford. She needs to play a bigger role here for Texas, and she is starting to make a move.
That's right, it was her emergence against Florida that enabled Texas to beat them.
Side out Nebraska.
Nebraska continues to move the ball around well.
Brightonfield block. McFadden and Reitzman are there.
Nebraska.
Huskers up 4-2.
It's a big block. Brightonfield's got to turn that angle sharper. Can't hit it into a 6'2" and a 6'4" block.
There's a kill for Texas.
Side out Texas.
Barnes with the nice play, and now she'll serve. And you can only wonder, Maria, if this is buying Demetrius Sants a little more time. With Barnes starting to step up there, you see Nebraska 34 of the last 45 points. But the Longhorns continue to hang around. They pick up a pointer down 4-3.
Texas is a very patient team.
Sants seems to be biding her time somewhat, with Brightonfield and Barnes now playing much better. Nebraska won't give them much room to breathe, though. Cernich with a kill.
Cernich continues to have the match of her life.
Hedbeck replacing McFadden.
Nice dig by Barnes.
Brightonfield.
Texas continues to stay with their game plan. They're giving Cernich the line. A digger staying on the line. Finally, it worked for them, and Barnes picked it up. Brightonfield finds the hole.
Bush serving. Weston off the rebound.
About as hard as I've ever seen Weston hit the ball.
That was almost Focal-esque. Kristen Focal from Stanford hit some pretty good. Weston matched it with that one. Side out for Nebraska. Nepo on to serve. Brightonfield with the response.
Brightonfield will serve.
Nice play here. You could see them sending Winkle around. Pull the block, left it open for Brightonfield.
Cernich through the block.
Texas can't get their timing down against her. That time she kind of hit it as the ball was coming down.
Nebraska holding the 4-3 lead in game 4. Nice digs on the back line for her. Weston long. She got a touch, she did.
Demetria Sants has kind of let up a little bit with her hitting. She got blocked a few times, and I think it slowed her down a bit. Nothing slowing Weston down right now. She did a good job there of just getting a piece of the block.
Nicely done by Kate Austin. Side out Texas. Longhorns trail by 2. Winkle goes out. Chrisman is in to serve. Set a little too short that time for Barnes.
Chrisman dug that ball, but the trajectory on that pass was not easy for the setter to get in and set it. A little too fine.
Allison Weston will serve. Reset. Long side out.
Side out, Texas.
Texas needs a little serving run here. They've got both Barnes and Sants in the front row. This is a good time for them to score some points.
Nebraska comes right back with a kill. Winsett
not going to do it as long as Winsett continues to hit like that. Beautiful execution there by Winsett. Johnson continues to move the ball around to all of the Huskers. She is just doing a fabulous job of running their offense.
6-3 Nebraska. Reitzma puts it down. 7-3 Nebraska in game 4.
Sonia Barnes has her work cut out for her in the front row because Nebraska is running their offense from antenna to antenna. Johnson, so many offensive weapons she can go to, one of which is Reitzma. So tough to stop.
3-0 Nebraska run in game 4.
I've never seen anything like it.
To infinity and beyond.
Some of them have been here for hours.
They can't put their puppets down. Hi, kitty.
Oh.
Howdy, partner. Howdy.
New at Burger King, Toy Story puppets from the magical Disney movie.
I'm Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger.
Get all 4 high-quality puppets for your kids. $1.99 each with any great-tasting value meal. Toy Story puppets. You can't put them down.
Looks like it's going to be a long night. I think we better get more puppets.
Now that you've given her away, you'll always cherish the memories. You'll always remember the joy. And you'll never forget the bill.
$220 for parts?
But hey, isn't that why you got Visa Gold in the first place? All the purchase power to handle any occasion. Even the most precious. Visa Gold, it's everywhere you want to be.
Nebraska leading Texas 7-3 in game 4, 8 points away from a national championship if they can close it out here in Amherst.
We've seen fabulous execution by both teams, and you know these teams know one another. They have met one time before, but that hasn't enabled Texas to block Nebraska any better because you can see Nebraska with 77 kills in this match.
The first meeting was a 3-0 Cornhusker sweep. Winsett.
Both these teams will meet a lot next year because they'll both be in the same conference. That's the Big 12 conference. Texas, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, and Baylor merging with the Big 8 to form the Big 12 in '96.
Not a bad way to start out a new conference with the 2 national finalists.
Absolutely.
Right now, Nebraska smelling blood, 9-3.
We've seen so many different weapons emerge for Nebraska in this match, and right now it is Reitzma.
2 times the Cornhuskers have played in the final and lost. Now trying to take home the trophy. Celebrating a bit early on that one.
That's out. Nebraska looking for a touch, but I didn't see one.
Side out Texas.
Celebrating that play before the ball hit the floor.
Sance, dug by Weston. Brightonfield.
She is so unorthodox in her style, her approach, but she can get it done when she needs to. She really found the hole there.
That snapped a 5-0 Cornhusker run. Wow! Cernich going way down to get it, but Texas will pick up a point.
Bennett calling a timeout. Gonna try to figure out how to stop Brightonfield. She is just doing a fabulous job for Texas right now. She's exactly what they need.
Texas fighting to stay alive, down 4 in game 4.
Would you do this to a leather sofa? Of course not, but we can fix it like new. Introducing Liquid Leather. It will make that ruined sofa, that damaged briefcase, this torn leather jacket all like new again. A high-tech urethane compound combines with perfectly blended colors to fill in even the deepest gash. Cover it with this special grain paper and let it dry. The damage is repaired. You get all the colors you need, along with an easy-to-follow mixing chart that shows you how to perfectly match any color. Just apply and let dry. Liquid Leather can save you hundreds, but through HSN Direct, it's only $19.95. Use your credit card and get Insta-Fabric absolutely free. It repairs rips, tears, and burns in any fabric or upholstery. Supplies are limited, so call now.
Call 1-800-662-1700 or send $19.95 plus $4.95 delivery to Liquid Leather, P.O. Box 2978, Framingham, Massachusetts.
Welcome back to Amherst, Massachusetts. The NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship. Nebraska 9-5 over Texas. And Angie Breitenfield keeping the Longhorns in it.
She has really emerged for them. You know, she had 0 kills in the first game. She has turned it on for them. And just when they needed it, she comes to the front. Dance rotates to the back, so they need her to come alive in the front row.
McFadden gets the side out.
As long as Jen McFadden continues to put energy into her team, Texas is going to have a hard time.
Trying to push the Huskers towards the national championship. Breitenfield is there again. Side out Texas.
Texas needs a little serving run here. Get back in this game. Down 4.
Put that one down, side out.
Texas has really had a hard time blocking Cernich. She has been so effective.
Head back again on for McFadden to serve. Breitenfield. Too much right now for the Cornhuskers. And now Texas has to start backing it up on offense.
Breitenfield hitting very high there, right over the block. Nice deep hitting. One of the things Nebraska has not done, and that's fall into the hands of Texas's game plan, because they serve those short balls so that Nebraska will run their middle and hit into their strength, which is their middle blocking, and Nebraska has gone outside almost every time they've served that short ball.
Done by the Longhorns. Blocked, but wide. Side out Texas.
Katie Austin tools the block here. Good job of just hitting it off Cernich's hands on the outside.
Breitenfield serving. Weston finishing.
Like a block tooling clinic going on out there right now.
Weston gets the side out. Nebraska still up 9-5 in game 4. The Cornhuskers, if they win this one, they take the title back to Lincoln. And a kill for Katie Austin.
One of those players that just loves the game. Her coach describes her as a breath of fresh air. He says when she starts smiling, you better watch out. Saw a little grin there.
Longhorns could use a little more of that right now.
kill.
but hitting that deep middle.
Huskers get the side out, and Maria, I can't think of the last time Sands was able to put one down. That defense has just been solid on her.
They really have. And it doesn't help that she's going up against McFadden. And a lot of times McFadden and Reitzma.
Austin got a touch.
Side out, Texas.
Side out, Texas. Smile from her as that one got down.
It's a big break for Texas as that ball went down. Fadden thought it was out.
Longhorns trail by 3. Sants puts one away.
14th kill of the match for Sants. What Texas needs right now is for her to continue to do that. She kind of disappeared in the kill category there for a while. McFadden
ends a brief 2-0 Texas run.
Christy Johnson knows she has a pumped up player in McFadden, and she goes to her.
She gets the side out. And an ace. Christy Johnson. 10-7 Nebraska, 5 points to the championship.
Johnson's second ace of the match. That's great placement there. And you saw Brentfield just move out of the way.
We've got a timeout. The Cornhuskers leading the Longhorns 10-7 in game 4. Nebraska winners of 30 straight.
Amazingly enough, Texas makes it all the way to the finals, but no All-Americans for that team. No first-team All-Americans, that is. Only 2 second teams. Nebraska, however, has Christy Johnson, and you can see distributed across the country. Dana Cook, we saw her earlier in the semis. Angelica Lindquist, Aaron Borski of Illinois. 2 more players for Nebraska, Lisa Reitzma and Allison Weston. Carrie Wendell Cope, Player of the Year. Val Sturck from Michigan State. Sharpley from Stanford. Britta Schwirm from Long Beach State. No Texas players on the first team, though. Second team, they had Bush and Sants. Lisa Reitzma there, also second team.
Nebraska holding opponents to 10 points or less in 12 of the 18 games of the 95 tournament.
You know, they set a goal for themselves. They play in the Big 8 Conference, not the most competitive volleyball conference in the country. They set a goal for themselves that the second time they played a team, they would allow that Big 8 opponent to score less points than the first time. They were pretty successful doing that. So they felt great that they had already played Texas and had a chance to play them again. They were much more confident coming up against Texas than they would have been against Stanford.
Coach Pettit was saying he preferred to see Texas just because they were a little more familiar with one another. Nice dig from Weston.
That's one of the most uncomfortable things as a coach is to not know your opponent very well.
No defense to stop Demetria Sants on that play.
It's as if she took a breather there at the beginning of game 4 and allowed herself to rejuvenate because she's been unstoppable these last few moments of this game. It's a 15th kill of the match for Demetria Sants.
The freshman at 25 in the semifinals. And a side out to Nebraska. 10-7 Cornhuskers here in game 4.
Smarter Bush to set away from Reitzma.
Austin.
That is some great setting by Carrie Bush. She knows Reitzma's over there on the right side. She is staying away from her. Going to her right side hitter. Here Katie Austin who finds the hole.
Side out to Texas. Barnes serving.
McFadden. How about that set by Brittany Johnson? That pass was so tight to the net. All she could do was get under it with one hand. And she not only does it, but she sets McFadden up perfectly.
Side out, Huskers. McFadden to serve. She's got 14 kills on the day. And they side out back over to Texas.
They don't normally leave McFadden in the back row. They possibly, I think they've run out of rotations. You're only allowed to insert your defensive specials 3 times.
Reichma off the block. Side out, Nebraska. NCAA Women's National Championship. Nebraska up 2 games to 1.
That looks good to me.
Point Cornhuskers 11-7.
Tight call there.
4 points to the title. There's a nice play from Jane Winkle, side out Longhorns.
She's had a tough year. She pulled her abdominal muscle at the beginning of the year. The year before, she had mono most of the season. She's a very gifted player, plagued by injuries.
Longhorns refusing to go quietly. Cernich, Nebraska got a touch.
Cernich continues to use that block on the outside. Nice, just high hit here off the blocker's hands.
Impressive number for Cernich, and the serve into the net.
That kills the 23rd kill for Kate Cernich. 10 more than her previous high of 13 versus Penn State this year.
She has stepped it up for the Cornhuskers. They're up 4 here in game 4.
That was great teamwork by Texas. You can see number 10 holding Barnes out of the net. She started to go into the net, and number 10 grabbed her shirt to keep her out of the net here. See in the middle of the court.
That was Austin and Barnes working well together. Side out Husker.
Nebraska's done their scatter report because they continue to find that hole in middle back, the Texas defense.
Weston to serve. 11-8 Nebraska. Sands gets the sign out for Texas.
Big break for Texas, and Sands is now rotated to the front row. They've got Sands and Barnes up there. They're going to make a run and turn this around. Now is the time for them to do it.
Texas almost got into some trouble there. They play the cross.
It's a great play in the backcourt by Winkle.
Winsett with another kill, her 21st on the day. That's a new season high for her.
Winsett continues to just be smart and use that Texas block. One of these times, Texas ought to pull its hands down out there. Those outside hitters would be hitting the ball out.
Winsett dug by Brightonfield. Sands at the net.
Wow, how's that?
Impressive side out.
What a sharp angle attack here by Sands. Saw the block, didn't want to go anywhere near Reichma and hit around it. She gets it done, but it's not pretty. Well, I'd say that was pretty. She did a great job with that one. Wow, and Demetria Sands comes up with a nice deep float serve here to get Texas back in this game and back in the match.
Nebraska holding on to the 1-point lead here in Game 4, but the Longhorns are threatening. Back to Amherst after this.
Sometimes to get to heaven, you gotta go through hell first. Try out, impress the scouts, pray you get drafted. Madden NFL 96, the ultimate judge.
Hey, Santa, my time's getting short.
The perfect gift for the guy with every Craftsman tool? A Craftsman tool storage organizer. Sears has just about every size at great prices. Craftsman for Christmas. Only at Sears and Sears hardware stores.
You want to know how to choose a motor oil? Take a ride to your local garage and see what the mechanic puts into his own car. Fact is, of all the brands of motor oil, more ASE certified master technicians choose Valvoline for use in their own cars and trucks. So before you buy a motor oil for your car, know the one more top mechanics put into theirs. Valvoline, the #1 choice of America's top mechanics.
To learn more about the world of Valvoline, visit us on the internet.
Nebraska leading Texas 11-10 in Game 4. If the Huskers can close it out, they'll take home the national championship. We are at the NCAA Women's Volleyball Final at the Mullins Center in Amherst, Massachusetts. First time to the East Coast. Beth Mowins along with Maria Barnes, and what a treat it's been for the folks who've come out for the semis the other night and now for the finals tonight, seeing some terrific action. And another point for the Longhorns. They tie it at 11.
I missed that call. I don't know what that call was. The referee stand is in my side here.
Not sure exactly what the whistle was, but McFadden gets the kill. Tied at 11 in Game 4.
I think maybe they felt like McFadden held on to that a little long. The only thing I can guess.
Brighton Field. Breathe, Swan. Texas has not led since the end of Game 1, which they won 15-11. Now, wow, they've got the lead, 12-11. Texas needs to force a Game 5 to keep their title hopes alive. Nebraska has squandered at one point a 4-point advantage, 11-7, and now they get the side out.
That's the hole in the Texas D, and Sternich wins it, has found it all night long. You gotta give up something when you're playing defense.
There you see the last lead.
Use it!
The Longhorns have battled back. Weston.
Last two times Brightonville has hit the ball, it has been tentatively. They need her to elevate here and go for it.
The All-Americans kill, ties it at 12. McFadden serving. Nebraska 3 points away from a national championship. That time Brighton Field gets it done. Side out.
15th kill of the match for Brightonfield. Such an unorthodox approach she has, but she takes care of business.
Weston with the kill. You know, Maria, both teams showed a little bit of the pressure early on in Game 1, but they have really elevated their games since then, making this a terrific final.
I think these two teams know how to play one another.
Tied at 12 here in Game 4.
How about that? serve by Fiona Nepo. She's a tremendous athlete. She shows it here. This serve, I mean, she aimed for that corner and executed perfectly. She could not have chosen a better time to do it for that Nebraska squad.
13-12, Nebraska takes the lead, and you see Coach Pettit there. He's got that Hawaiian lei around his neck. I think it was working some of its magic on Nepo's serve.
Pressure is on him now. He saw a huge lead slip away. He is directing his Nebraska squad.
Nebraska up by 1, 2 points away from the title.
Texas, on the other hand, their coach is not involved in their huddle at all. He thinks his team leads themselves better than he can lead them, and he stays out of it. He's allowing the senior leadership of Carrie Bush and Angie Breitenfield to come through, and he just kind of looks on, very somber. Mick Haley, got to be proud of that team.
They have really fought back. It looked like they were in deep trouble early on here in game 4.
It's a well-coached team when they can lead themselves like that.
Upset Florida, then upset Stanford to get here, working on an upset at #1, but right now, Nebraska has matters in their own hands.
Oh, wow. That was a tremendous save by McFadden in the backcourt. But Texas shows its tenacity once again. Big block here. Katie Austin just reaching over the net.
Breitenfield's serve miscue gives it back to Nebraska.
Ooh, that's a momentum killer.
Austin looked like one of the killer bees on that last block. Serve to serve.
Nice move by Winsett.
Texas goes back to Sants. Nepo with a nice dig. Weston, no. Side out to Texas.
Fiona Nepo did a good job in the backcourt for Nebraska. Moved really well to get after that ball. Weston was looking for a touch there. Oh, again, that ball is wide. Nebraska doesn't like that call at all.
We're tied at 13.
Allison Weston needs to aim for the middle of the court. She's trying to be too precise.
Substitution coming on. Reitzma back in for Nebraska, replacing Nepo. Texas, 6-2 in the last 8 points.
This Texas squad gives my vote as the most tenacious team this decade's ever seen.
The Texas Longhorns, 1 point away from forcing game 5. Winsett off the block, side out. Mick Haley, you'd think a coach would be terrified at this point. He seems like he's having a great time watching these two go at it.
He rarely even gets out of his chair. I mean, you look over there, Pettit hasn't sat down in 40 minutes, and Mick Haley, as calm as he can be.
Weston serves for Nebraska. Oh, wow. That's a freshman making that play at this time, and Texas again serving to get to game 5.
19th kill for Sants. How's that for finesse?
Kate Austin.
Oh my gosh.
Sants with an incredible day. Not on that one. Winsett puts it down.
I think Winsett has drawn a big hole over there in the middle of the Texas defense, and she just continues to hit it. That's an amazing dig by Sants, though.
Side out to the Cornhuskers. Push to Sants, blocked. Oh, Sants! Weston with a nice dig. Nebraska ties it at 14.
I cannot imagine how much adrenaline there must be out there on that court right now. Sprawling big by Weston.
Must win by 2. 14 all in game 4. Sant off the block for the side out.
Boy, she's been incredible.
2 prize fighters going toe-to-toe.
There you go, exactly.
Tied at 14, Sant serving.
You have to win by 2.
That's Winston's spot. She will now serve. Nebraska leads 2-1. They win this game, they win it all. Texas trying to get to a game 5. Surnich.
Long. Looking for a touch. I did not see one. That's a good call by the officials. This ball is just long. No change of direction there. That was clean.
Nebraska fans don't like it, but Barnes is back to serve.
Teammates were expecting it. Big Angie Breitenfield sprawling out to touch this McFadden hit.
McFadden serving now for Nebraska.
Use it.
Block for the Cornhuskers, and now they've got a match and a national championship point. Coach Terry Pettit. Twice his clubs have come up short, now 1 point away from taking home the trophy. McFadden to serve. Ouch.
She still has a smile on her face. Just rolls up her sleeves and digs back in.
Carrie Bush serving. Texas trying to tie it. Johnson with the dig.
Oh, great up.
3-2.
Side out Nebraska.
26th kill of the match for Kate Cernich.
Second match point for the Huskers. Side out Texas.
Another chance for Texas. Dance is back in the front row.
Again, the Longhorns show their resilience. Have to win by 2. Nebraska's up 1 right now.
Reach.
Kill for Weston. And now match point number 3 coming up.
Johnson's going to go to Weston. She told us yesterday in the clutch, she's my person to go to, Allie Weston. Pettit giving Cernich the serving signal. Go to Breitenfield, he says.
That'll do it. Nebraska has won the national championship.
The best NCAA championships of all time.